Man, I'm doing great. I'm glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Man, I've been watching your stuff for a while. It started out watching you out in the middle of the ocean on a jet ski catching giant fish with cruise ships and cargo ships next to you. So, man, I don't know. You make some great social media, man. Make some great
Thank you.
social media. How did you get started fishing on the jet ski?
Uh, I've always been fishing with my dad growing up near piers and bridges and doing a lot of stuff down in the Keys, and I always just wanted to get offshore. So after high school, I found the easiest, most convenient thing I could use to get out there. Saw Sea-Doo came out with this Fish Pro model, and I got it and just dived headfirst into it. Learned how to fish offshore on a Sea-Doo.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
where'd you grow up?
In Miramar, Florida.
Okay. And then you were coming down
So
to the Keys a bunch?
yeah, I used to go down to the Keys all the time with my dad and fish all the bridges and all those areas.
Right on. And when is your dad still fishing?
Yeah, yeah.
And you guys fish together? You ever get him on the back of that jet ski?
No, no, he doesn't come on the jet ski, but yeah, we still get out there.
Now you have kids of your own?
No,
No. Okay.
no
And then,
kids.
so tell me about growing up in Miramar and coming down to the Keys. Like, what kind of stuff would you catch in the Keys?
Just this the usual grunts, mangrove snappers, the occasional black grouper at the bridge,
Mm-hmm.
tarpon. Uh, yeah, I forgot what the name of the spot is. It's like right next to a bait shop, and it's a bridge. Me and my dad
Oh,
used to go under
is
and
that in
just
Marathon? Vodka Cut? Vodka Cut, dude.
vodka cut. So I,
That's a serious place. The tide runs through there so fast, but the
yeah,
tarpon are in there. That's a very popular place.
tarpon,
Very popular place to fish.
jacks.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool spot.
you get a tarpon or a jack with that current headed out. Good luck,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So that lit the fuse
Yeah, for sure.
to want to go some more further deeper.
Yeah, I just wanted to catch bigger fish. I've just always been fascinated with catching big fish. So that's what got me offshore doing what I do now.
Okay, and so walk me through the how you get the Fish Pro, and you're going out there a little bit, and then you're going progressively further and further and further. I mean, what's the is there like a confidence kind of thing where you're like, okay, how far can I take this out, and then when do you like make the jump to like you're I mean you're out there. I mean, if you're in 100 feet of
Yeah,
water, you're as sunk as you are in 3,000 feet of water if something happens, I
yeah,
guess. So
yeah.
what's really the difference?
So it's crazy, but at first I was actually on the first Sea-Doo model I ever bought was a Sea-Doo Spark. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with those, but it's a smaller model. It's not at all catered toward fishing. It's more of a ski that you're going to use for fun, and you want to be out there getting wet and having a time. And I built the PVC rack for it, and I put a cooler on it, and like ratchet strapped it to the Sea-Doo. And I was taking that thing offshore. My first video on my channel was taking that thing offshore, and I think I caught like a blue runner or something. Um, and after a while, I just wanted to be able to have my friends come along, or like go out with family and stuff like that. So I saw Sea-Doo had the Fish Pro, the bigger model, and I was like, geez, this thing is crazy. It has good gas mileage. Comes with a Garmin. Comes with a cooler, rod holders, pretty much everything you need to get out there. And then from there, I just made sure that I was on top of safety. So when it comes to EPIRBs, flares, everything I need, VHF radio, so I could get in contact with Coast Guard or SeaTow or whatever it is in the case that anything happens. So there's definitely it's you're out there in the middle of nowhere on a Sea-Doo, but then it's just such an intimate, awesome, different way of fishing that a lot of people just never experience it. They can't really understand it, but it's awesome,
I bet,
especially when
man.
you hook into a big fish.
I bet. So tell me about the safety. Like, What are you going out there by yourself? I mean, sometimes you are probably, but
Yeah,
not every time. But
not every time. A lot of times I am though. Out here in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Palm Beach. My usual program is running out to the edge of the reef, anywhere between 100 foot to, if I'm looking for mahi, some days I'll be in 1,000 foot of water, and I'm just trying to fish.
but it's working for you. But I'm sure you've had some close
Yeah,
calls. Like, I mean, we have close calls in a 36-foot boat, right? Like,
yeah,
like I would imagine that you got to be extra sensitive of the weather.
hundred
In
percent. And that's the main thing, the weather, and just keeping an eye on the weather. And sometimes the weather sneaks up on you, and situations like that where it just gets crazy out there really quick.
so when's the what comes to mind when you think about crazy real quick and something that you've made it through and maybe decided you're not going to do that again?
I mean, we've throughout time fishing on a sea, I've definitely been in like some scenarios where it's just unique because you're out there fishing. 1 second the weather's beautiful, the next second you have wind, you have rain, you have waves rolling in, and then the thing that scares me the most is lightning.
Yeah.
That's like the thing that really scares me the most, because the sea-doos are nimble, and they could really handle a lot of going up and down waves and stuff like that. Obviously not ideal, but it's really just in those moments, just taking your time and just making it back to shore is all you can do.
Dude, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Sometimes, I'm sure you know the feeling as well or better than anyone fishing off a sea at first, and now you're moving into a boat. But I mean, you go out there and I mean, sometimes you go out and maybe try to catch a sailfish in a skiff or something, and you get out there and you're like, this is not a big enough boat. Like, this is not a big enough boat. Then you go out with your 26 or a 32 or a 36 or something like that, and you think, oh, this is a great boat. We took a 36 up to Ocean City, Maryland, and those guys run like more than 100 miles offshore. And I'm thinking, 36, oh man, we do everything in the Keys in a 36. We got up there, and I was like, this is not a big enough boat. I see why every other boat around here is a sport fish, because it's serious, man. It is really serious.
Yeah,
But all of a sudden, a boat that you feel like is pretty big feels
pretty
incredibly
small.
small. but I don't know, um, the weather is something to really watch out for. But the Sea-Doo, I just don't have any experience of being on one of those in really bad weather. Like,
Yeah,
well, it basically can completely submerge and float again. Like, you could probably put the thing totally underwater and then it comes back up, unlike a
yeah,
boat. But I mean,
exactly.
do you feel safe out there on that when you're way
For
out?
sure.
You
I
do?
mean, so yeah, I honestly do. I mean, like even now having a boat, a sea is like still one of my favorite ways to fish, just because it's just such a unique experience.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and even like what you were saying, like them being able to submerge and come back up. If you look in a lot of these like big wave competition and stuff, like they have
Yes.
sea out there, and
Oh yeah.
PWCs out there that's in the wake and stuff like that. So it's definitely crazy, but they can manage.
Dude, those guys that rescue the surfers are they're amazing at what they do. They're
Yeah,
so good. I mean, they're literally one with that ski, and they're watching those waves, and they're also obviously incredible surfers themselves because they know exactly where to be and exactly where not to be, and within like 5 or 10 feet, like the wave is going to
big
smash you right
difference.
there. Over here, you might be okay if you can get away real fast, but I mean, those guys, that's really incredible. It's almost like at like if you go to like a rodeo, it's almost just as much fun to watch the rodeo clowns protect the cowboys as it is watching what's going on, right? And that, like, in those
Yeah,
surfing competitions, it's almost as much fun to watch those people, kind of come in on the jet skis and save people
skiing
or get them out of there as it is to watch the surfers. I mean,
for
they got
sure.
so much skill. So you took that over to the Bahamas. You've done all kinds of stuff on that thing.
Yeah, I've taken Sea-Doos to the Bahamas 3 times now.
Just to
So
Bimini, or like where do you go?
so the first time I ever went, it was me, Cam Kirkconnell. Cam was on one Sea-Doo, I was on one Sea-Doo, and we went from Stewart to Grand K, 112 miles. We had a boat with us on that trip, so we had extra fuel and everything. And we filled up once. We used 5 or 10 gallons of fuel for each ski, and we made it. It was one of the most beautiful days I have ever been on the
Mhm.
water. I have the video on my YouTube channel. It was an absolute lake, like full throttle, just beautiful, glassy, calm conditions, and we did 112 miles from Stewart to Grand K. Um, and then I did a trip, me and my cousin, from Palm Beach to West End,
Oh
65
wow,
miles.
yeah.
And then I've done Miami to Bimini, 55 miles with my cousin and Bree Andrewsy from BA Fishing, who also
Mm-hmm.
fishes on a Sea-Doo.
Nice. So did you do you get in the water with Cam Kirkconnell?
So that trip, I actually had a cut on my foot. So every time I put a fin on, it would just rub it raw.
Oh man.
So I ended up not being in the water a bunch that trip, but I think about that all the time. They shot a big black grouper on that trip. They're bringing up giant lobsters. They're seeing big APs and everything. I wish I could have been in the water on that trip, and obviously I can't dive anywhere near Cam's level, but just being in the
I don't
water and
know
just
anybody
seeing
that can. He
exactly.
is the legend. But
Yeah, for sure.
everything that every time he puts his head underwater, he seems to come up with something really big.
Awesome for sure.
But I think that has a lot to do with where he goes, and he goes to the ends of the earth. Um,
Yeah.
but he's a cool dude. I really like him. He's done a lot of fishing on that sea, dude. But I don't see him doing what you do. I see him kind of. He's like a little closer in. What's
Yeah.
the craziest stuff that you've caught on a sea, dude?
The craziest fish would for sure be 100-pound sword in Louisiana. Um, and pretty much everything you could think of. I mean, I haven't the two fish on my radar right now that I still want to catch on the sea are bluefin tuna, yellowfin tuna, and a marlin. I want to do either blue or black marlin. Um, and other than that, I've caught tunas, sails, wahoos, all types of jacks. APs, um, cobias. Cobias is a really, really, really fun one on the
Yeah.
sea. There's like super, that's one of my favorites. Big kings, just everything you find out here in Florida.
So some of the fish that you're catching seem like they're too big to bring back on the sea. Is that true or not?
So the swordfish, I actually teamed up with Captain Blake from Triple Tail Charters in Louisiana.
Okay.
So we were, that's a super crazy run, unfamiliar waters. Can be a very dangerous area if you don't know what you're doing. So going into an area like that without local knowledge just wasn't something I was interested in doing. So teamed up Captain Blake out of there, and we were out there fishing all day till I got a bite, and then once we caught the fish, held them up, got pictures, videos, and everything. We got them onto the boat for the ride back home, and it was pretty rough that day. We weren't pulling that thing home.
Man, those swords are mean. Did you
Yeah,
experience that? Like, did it
yeah.
attack
It
the
it
ski?
it didn't attack this. It was like really odd because we're hand cranking it 100 and not 100. We're hand cranking it in 1,400 foot of water,
Hmm.
and it's kind of like the fish came right up. We clipped off the lead, and it came right up to the ski, and we got a gaff in it. But it was like the fish didn't really know what was going on until we gaffed it. And it's like once we gaffed it, it really, really, really woke up. It was just, I have a video of it just spinning the sea in circles with its tail, and
Did you
its
drop the
bill is just
gaff,
swinging
or
around.
is the gaff still
No,
in it?
we held it. We held it. Yeah, yeah, we held it. We had I think Sebastian got the first gaff in, and then I came with the second gaff, and it was spinning us around for sure.
Wow. So what all? I mean, second gaff. I mean, you had a boat in support on that one. But like, what kind of
Mhm.
what's your setup look like when you're going way offshore? You're going to try to catch a swordfish. Maybe that's, I don't know how many times you've tried to catch a swordfish on the ski, but let's just say you're going out for sails or mahi or something like that. You're going to end up way out there. How many rods can you take? Like, what do you choose to take? What happens if you take too much? Like, what's too much and what's just enough?
So, like, say for instance, when I'm going to the Bahamas, I will have like 15 rods, like 10
15
to
rods
15.
on a
Yeah.
jet ski?
Uh, if you look, I have some videos or like some pictures when I get to the Bahamas, I'll just take a picture of me on the ski and post it on Instagram and just show everyone that I got there. And that's something people always comment. They're like, "Dude, how many rods do you need?" Well, you need a lot of rods just for different types of things.
Sure.
Um, but on a day fishing out front here, I'd say like 6 to 8 rods.
Okay.
I'll
Right.
have a couple for live bait. I always have one or two jigging rods. Then I usually have like a dedicated bottom rod.
Okay. And are you
And
able
then
to? Oh, go ahead.
if I'm going like out of the Keys or something, I like to do a lot of deep dropping in Alamada.
Mm-hmm.
So on those days, I'll usually just run out with an electric or two, and then just some jigging stuff and some trolling stuff as well. So like,
So do
between
you,
like 6 to 8 rods.
okay. And do you have your ski wired for electrics, or are you carrying an auxiliary battery?
So I usually use a little um, lithium ion battery and Abyss battery,
Okay.
and I'll just plug in the reel straight to that, and I'll just keep that in the front hatch of the ski. Or sometimes the cooler on the Sea-Doo, it actually turns to a live well. So when I have baits in there, sometimes I'll use it as storage and keep a battery in there as well.
Wow. A live well. How big is the live
Yeah.
well?
Uh, I couldn't tell you how big it is, but it's that cooler you see on the back of the Sea-Doo.
Yeah.
It has a pickup, so it'll basically pump water with this. I could flip a switch and it'll pump water right into the cooler. So anytime I'm out here live baiting, I'll always have gogs in there, and I could fit anywhere between like 12 to 18 gogs in
Dude,
there.
that's awesome. You
Yeah,
can keep
it it
18 goggle eyes alive on a jet ski while you're out
it
there.
really works well. It really
I
does.
would think that it does. So, what
Yeah.
about when you're deep dropping in Isla Morada? What are you catching, tiles and queen snappers and stuff? What do you target there?
My favorite fish out there is the yellow wedges, the yellow wedge groupers.
Okay, yeah,
We've caught. I was on a boat this trip, but we've caught a 37-pound yellow wedge out of there. And after that, I was just hooked on that area. And then
yeah.
since being back, just blue line towel fish. I've caught a queen on the ski. I have caught yellow wedges on the ski, snowies. Yeah, pretty much all those deep species.
And then, how many of those? Like, if you have a really good day, what are you capable of bringing back? Like, how many fish can you bring back on a ski?
So
I mean, I
I've
keep
really
asking this
never.
because it just seems like you're going to run out of room. You
Yeah.
got yourself, you got all this fishing tackle. You're going to bring, you got bait. I mean, it's amazing that you can fit that much stuff on a small. I mean, they're really pretty small. I mean, they're big for a jet ski, but they're
Yeah.
small for a boat.
Yeah, for sure. It's about 12 foot long. I think like 3.5 or 4 foot wide. But when you look at it compared to a traditional ski, it's a lot bigger. You know what I mean? Like you have a lot more space than a traditional ski that's just meant for touring.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in between my seat and my cooler, I pretty much always have a fish bag there. Um, so I could
Okay.
fit a lot of fish
Yeah,
in
in
there
a bag.
if
Yeah,
if need be. Yeah, in the
those
bag.
bags are nice.
Yeah, they're awesome. That's
Which
my
one do
favorite
you
thing.
use? What
It's
do
a
you have a brand
Opa.
that you like? Okay.
It's a Opa. I just found it on Amazon.
Yeah, I think there's a number of brands that are really good, but I've been surprised at
Yeah.
how well some of those will keep ice. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, they work great. So you've really doing these things, and a lot of them are really um, interesting on social media. I mean, it's definitely a scroll stopper to see you with 15 rods on your jet ski or way out in the middle of the ocean. What's your journey been like on social media? Like, when did you get started on social media?
Uh, I got my first CD in 2018. For the first couple of years, honestly, like most people just thought I was nuts. Like they're just like, dude, what is going on? It took a while to catch on, but I've just been super consistent, you know? So I'm like always putting out videos that just don't stop. So after a while, I remember it was a video where I was out there. It was a day, it was pretty rough. I ran out of Miami and I'm out there, the wind's blowing. I have on a jacket, I got on bibs, I got on boots, and I ran across like a frigate bird and I opened my cooler, I got a pilchard out. I hooked one. Once I hooked it, I put it in the rod holder. I just threw another bait and I instantly doubled up. And it's just like one of those picture perfect moments where one of the mahis, when I landed it, it was a male and a female. One was, the traditional like yellow color, I see
Yeah,
a mahi, and the other one was just electric blue.
nice.
So the contrast of the two fish was just amazing, and that video exploded. And from there, just staying consistent, continuing to post videos. It's just been like almost like a snowball, just compounding. I'll have new people that come along. They go down to the bottom of my profile. They watch all my videos, and then from there, they're just like, what's
Yeah,
going on? I need to see more of this.
for sure. So, what's your favorite platform?
Instagram. I really like short form content.
Yeah.
I think you could just reach so many people with a 30-second video, a 40-second video, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like on YouTube, I film everything for YouTube. So like in terms of like I'm shooting everything wide
Yeah.
and then I'll repurpose everything for Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. But it like YouTube can be very hard, you know? Like YouTube
Yeah.
can be very, very, very hard.
Well, when you say YouTube can be very hard, like what do you mean? Because I've had my struggles with YouTube. I've it's been challenging um, for for a lot of TV guys to move
Yeah.
over to YouTube. But what when you say YouTube is hard? Like, what do you think it's hard is hard about it?
Just like I would say this in terms of engagement and viewership, that it can just be tough, you know, like how like a million views on Instagram in my eyes is so much easier to get than a million views on a YouTube video.
I think so too.
Which
I mean, that's
which
been my
I've
experience.
yeah, and I've done it. I've done it. I like all of my huge YouTube videos are me taking a sea to the Bahamas. So those are the videos where I'm like, holy smokes, like these get a lot of views. You know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
not every day you can do that. You know, it's not every day where you're out there running to the Bahamas. And a lot of days it's just a regular day here in Florida. We're just fishing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think it's easier for someone to scroll across a 30-second video and something quickly catches their eye and now they're watching the whole video versus getting someone to sit down for 10 to 20 minutes and watch a whole video of you going through your day. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yes. Yeah. So what about the other platforms? Do you do Facebook?
I do post on Facebook, so pretty much everything I post on Instagram just doubles to Facebook for
It just you just
photos
have
and
it set to
reels.
where it'll just post itself over there, like
Yeah.
automatically.
So yeah, so if I post on Instagram, it'll just automatically post
Hmm.
on Facebook.
I had that set on ours, but then I found that it wasn't doing as well, so we just post the
Separate.
same content
Really?
to Facebook. But I mean, like, I'm no Facebook guru, but I can tell you that, like, what you're saying is like a million views on Instagram seems way easier than a million views on YouTube. But
100%.
every now and then, for no reason at all, we'll have a video that will just go absolutely crazy on Facebook. And it's not a video for any reason that is good or that we put a lot of work into or anything. I had this one video where we have our film boat, so there's like three or four cameras in the film boat, and then there was somebody in there with a phone, and the the boat that I'm on is about, I don't know, 50 feet away. So a long way for a phone. And we're catching Jack Crevalles, not even very big ones. We catch two Jack Crevalles. My partner catches one, I catch one. I have one landing net, and I get both of them in the same net. 10 million views. And you couldn't hear anything that we were saying. It was so far away. Like, I don't know why or what that was all about. Can't replicate it, can't make any sense of it whatsoever. But it's like when one does take off on Facebook, that one seems like it just keeps going. Like at some point, Instagram kind of tapers off.
Peters
Like
off. Yeah.
that's as much as you're getting, and then you don't, it'll still get, marginal. But for a while, it's like super climbing, and then it just stops. But on
Yeah.
Facebook, if you have one that'll hit, it goes crazy. Like Landshark, he does great on Facebook. Great. I mean, like really, really great on Facebook. But I don't I don't know. I can't make any sense of it.
Yeah,
And
it's interesting. It's
yeah.
interesting.
Now the question is, what do you think about TikTok? Do you do TikTok?
I do TikTok. I really am not a fan of the platform. It's like I've had a lot of success on TikTok. I think I have like 100,000 followers on there. A lot of the same videos that will do really well on Instagram and
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, I'll post them on TikTok, and it's like TikTok doesn't even show my videos to my followers sometimes. So it's like it doesn't make any sense how you could have 100,000 followers, but you can struggle to get your videos in front of your followers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And it
Yeah.
seems like some people, myself included, and it sounds like you too, just for whatever reason, maybe it's the time you post, the way you post, the videos, the content. I don't know what it is, but it seems to suit one platform way better than another. And then you try to take that same style and put it somewhere else, and it just doesn't seem to work as well. I don't know what that is.
I've had people, which I've never done this, but I've had people clip my YouTube videos,
Mm-hmm.
and I just randomly saw this. Like someone sent it to me text message, like, "Yo, look what I just saw on TikTok," and it's literally like a 4 or 5 minute screen recording of my YouTube video, and it has like over 1 million views. And I'll post like clips from those videos on TikTok, but they have nowhere near the same impact.
Hmm. Yeah. So what do you think about that? Like, what's your opinion of of somebody doing that, or um, your content getting out there,
But
not
yeah,
necessarily the way
I
you want it
don't
to?
mind it. I don't mind it. I just don't like when people post it and then they just don't credit you at all. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll even put their logo on the screen,
Oh yeah. That's
and it's
that's
it's
not
it's
cool.
it's your video. I'm like, come on, man. But other than that, I don't really mind reposting or reshares as long as people are, you know, giving credit.
Yeah. Well, in a lot of ways, you know, like a Mr. Beast or somebody like that, he encourages it. Like he wants
Yeah,
to be out there everywhere in front of
as much
everybody
as
as
possible.
much as possible. And honestly, that's probably where I I don't know where I came across your first video. It's probably on your account. Probably was. Um, anyway, so how like it sounds like with all the different platforms, with all the different videos, all the different edits, is this what you're doing full time?
Yeah, it is.
And when did you start? What was it like to? Has it always been full time, or like when did you do something else?
No, it was so I was actually right after high school. When I first got my CDU, I was in paramedic school. I went through EMT school, went through paramedic school, and that's that I was working as a private. I was working at a private ambulance company doing like interfacility transports. At the time, all my off days, I'd be getting on the ski, making videos, and it kind of came to a point where I had the option to take 3 more months, go to fire school, become a fireman, or at the point I was getting with social media, following and being able to work with different brands, I kind of had a choice, and it wasn't a hard choice for me to make.
Yeah, yeah. And so, How long have you been doing it full time now?
I think this would be my third year.
Third
Third
year.
year, I believe. Third or fourth year.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. That's awesome. And so, for the life of a, I mean, people are always curious about like the life of a creator. But like, walk us through like what a what a day or maybe a week looks like. How you're getting the content, and then you're like, how much time does it take to do what you're doing?
I mean, some days it could take all day, especially like here in Florida, especially when I'm fishing out of Miami. I'll leave pretty early in the morning. I try to get there by sunrise. Um, so I'm out there super early, and I live a little ways. Like I'm where I live is close to the Everglades, so I'm kind of in between Miami and Fort Lauderdale, just out west.
Yeah. Okay.
40, 50 minutes to Miami sometimes with traffic. It could be an hour and 30 plus. Um, so I grab some ice in the morning, drive down to the boat ramp. I usually buy baits on the water just because it's way easier.
Mm-hmm.
Buy baits, run out, pretty much fish all day until I get a bite. Some days I don't get a bite. Um, you know how it goes.
That's what's not on social
um,
media.
yeah, exactly. You know, and then those are all the days that people don't see. Like there's because when you spend so much time out there, you're gonna be out there the days sometimes where the fish just aren't cooperating. You know, or some days you get multiple bites and you don't capitalize on them, and you lose the three fish you hope to catch. Um, so I'll pretty much stay out there until I get a bite. The whole day I'm recording, talking to the camera, just running the camera through where I am, what I'm doing, the gear I'm using, the different techniques. Then I'll come home, clean some fish, cook some fish, film that, and then come inside, export everything, get it onto the computer, get it onto the hard drives, and then from there, editing YouTube videos, breaking it down into short form, um, and whether I have like little projects going on where I need to do something specific for brands or stuff like that. Just a lot of editing, a lot of time behind the computer.
Yeah. It sounds like certainly more than a full time job. You don't have
Oh,
anybody
for
helping
sure.
you?
In terms of editing and fishing, no, no.
Wow. So what do you
Everything,
have
everything
people
I've
helping you with?
just like the emails and dealing with partnerships and brands and just a lot of stuff where sometimes I'll be out fishing and I just cannot go back and forth over email all day.
Right. And so you
Yeah,
found somebody to help you with that?
yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That gives
But
you more
other than
time
that,
to do the other
yeah,
stuff.
exactly. But other than
Yeah.
that, all the filming and editing is all on me right now.
Right on. I was watching one of your videos, that lobster recipe that you had where you mixed in like it was like cottage cheese and butter and cheese and some other stuff, some spices. That thing looked, what do you call that? That looked amazing.
I actually just made that. I went lobstering last week. I did that again. It's lobster mac and cheese, and it
Oh
is
yeah.
delicious. It is
Yeah.
so good,
That
so good.
looks amazing. That
Yeah,
thing that was great. I
it
mean,
is so good.
I'm not a great cook, I guess, but I mean, I watched it because like I saw you and you were cutting it with scissors. That's what I do. I cut the back of the lobster with scissors like that. It's way easier than a knife. And I was like, oh, he's probably just going to do what I do. And then you started whipping up this whole thing, and I was like, God dang, I got to try that. That's going to be
It's good and it's simple and it's like pretty quick because you get the lobster into the bowl, you get some noodles into the bowl, add your ingredients, add your cheese, mix it up, throw it in the oven 25 minutes, and it's delicious.
where'd you learn how to cook?
I wouldn't even consider myself like honestly like I wouldn't even consider myself a I really just like throw it together. I have fun. A lot of people tell me I can't cook. That's completely fine. As long as it tastes good to me and the people eating it is really all that matters to me. Um, but I am in no way, shape, or form a chef or a cook or anything like that.
So, um, your company name, your YouTube page is called I Belong Outdoors. Where'd that come from?
Oh, I really I can't fully remember. I mean, I know my sister is like a huge part of what I do. She helps me with management and everything. So I know one day we were brainstorming and it just came together and we were like, wow, that sounds awesome. And it just really suits what I do. I've always been a kid that just outside. Even when I was little and I wasn't able to spend more time down by the water, I was always outside doing something, catching a lizard at the lake, catching a bass, just always outside. So it really fits who I am and what I do.
So tell me about the new venture. You got a boat.
I
You
did.
moved into a boat. Tell me about the boat.
It's awesome. It's 27-foot Sea Lion. It's powered by twin 200 outboards. It has a tower on it, and it's really just I want to start doing a lot of trips where it's pretty much anyone can create fishing content. You know what I mean? Like in this day and age, everyone has a camera. Anyone can make a YouTube video. Anyone can go make a 30-second video, put on Instagram. So I really wanted to begin focusing on stuff outside of that, like true adventure. You know what I mean? True fishing trips, and outside of just the fishing, focusing on the journey and everything that it takes you to get to where the fish are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it. It was, it was huge for me. Yeah.
Had you been looking for a boat for a long time?
No,
No,
it was
you
kind of just one day I just came up with an idea, and then a couple months later it happened.
right on. And so
Yeah.
when you start thinking about these big adventures that you want to go on, and now that you have the boat, like what's the next step? What are you going to do? What are some of the ones that you want to do, or some of your ideas?
One of the main things I want to do is really explore the Bahamas.
Yeah.
I've the Bahamas is one of my favorite places ever. It's
Mm-hmm.
just so full of life, so beautiful. So I just want to really spend some time out there and really explore and look for those yellowfins, look for those marlin out there, and just really spend time out there fishing and filming.
You like getting in the water too, though, even though you had
I
a hurt foot when you had the master as your guide.
Yeah, I'm not like I'm in no way, shape, or form a good free diver at all. But I can, in there 24 water, get down there. Um, Mainly lobstering. I used to get in the water like some shallow reef here in Miami and shoot yellow jacks and mangroves and stuff like that. But I think I'm definitely more of a fisherman. I enjoy being out of the water more than I do in it for sure.
I like diving, but I just I don't do it enough, and I don't know. I'm more of a fisherman,
And I
even though
feel
I
like it,
grew up in the water. Right, like I was on the swim
yeah.
team, and I spent a lot of time in the water, and I'm very comfortable in the water. But I, being in the water in the ocean, doing stuff like what Cam Kirkconnell does, that's a whole different thing. And I kind of believe that if that's what you're going to do, it's kind of like being a pilot. You don't want to be a part-time pilot. Like
Yeah,
that needs to be your thing. You
your
need to do
thing.
that all the time, and
Yeah,
to be safe and to be aware, like him, like he's spent a lot of time in the water. A lot of my friends that are big time free divers and spear fishermen, and that's what they do. Like
yeah.
that's their deal. So I don't know if I can go with them, I'm good. You know, except I can't keep up with
Yeah,
them. But
exactly.
but
Exactly.
I feel safe. And it's like, and then we have
Yeah.
success, and that's fun because sometimes I don't know. You can be a pretty good fisherman, and then you get in the water, you're like, huh, there's usually fish here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so, what about you think you'll go out of state, like back to Louisiana in your boat? That place is amazing. What do you think about Louisiana?
I Louisiana is one of the like I can't even explain the fishing there. It's just nuts. Like just I've been there two times. One time I went to go sorting, and the other time I went, I have a homie out there, Rich, and he has a I have a homie out there, Rich, and he has two sea-doos. So I went out there last summer and visited him, and we put an absolute hurting. on the cobias. Fishing the rigs and
Those
all the
near
life
shore
there, and
rigs, the ones that aren't very far out. That's what we did when we were there
yeah,
too.
and all the big jack revolves and everything. It's just beautiful. And then you go offshore, and it's like the bottom fishing is amazing. It's definitely a place where I like, man, I could definitely live in Louisiana.
I'll tell you
I
what,
could
that
definitely do
as
it.
far as the fishing goes,
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. And then if you actually go up the Mississippi River there, and you're actually we like my friend Anthony Randazzo has a lodge there, Paradise Plus, and I've done a lot of fishing with him. And when we were fishing the professional redfish tournaments a long time ago, a lot of those tournaments were in Venice, Louisiana. And so
yeah,
we got to know that area pretty well. It's changed a lot because the marsh has retreated, and a lot of the stuff that we were fishing doesn't even exist anymore, which is interesting when you go back. You got these spots marked, and you're like, man, the GPS must be wrong. Like, what's going on? There's nothing. There's literally nothing here, and this is where we were fishing. Up against grass a long
wow,
time ago. But it's changed a lot, but still incredible. But up in the river, I remember we went there. We went there right after Hurricane Katrina, and it was total destruction at that place. And we were one of the first. Anthony could get in there because he owned property in there, and it was not livable, but you could go in there and fish. And he took us in there pretty soon after Katrina, and he showed us. He pointed at the sonar. He's like, "How deep do you think it is here?" I said, "It's 23 feet." He said, "Nope, it's 33 feet." And I'm like, "Well, there's a red line on the bottom right there. It looks like it's 23 feet to me." He said, "All that right there, trout. It's all trout. 10 feet of trout." And dude, we went
no
across the
way.
river this way, same thing. We went up the river this way, same thing. You drop a bear jig head down, and you catch trout.
On,
I mean that. I mean, I guess when you take one of the largest rivers in the world and you dump it into, you know, the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America now, it is going to be a fish factory like we don't have anywhere else in the United States, and that's
yeah,
exactly what it is. It's
yep,
crazy, like how much water is dumping in there, and the fish life that is around that, and it just
it's
keeps going
amazing.
offshore. Like all of
Yep,
that just keeps going. All the Mississippi River and all the redfish inshore and trout and all that stuff. It's if people haven't fished in Louisiana, they should definitely should be on their list.
most
Definitely should.
definitely.
So outside of the adventures in this country, do you have any plans on going somewhere else? Like, would your social media world take you to international destinations, or you got any desire to do that? Hawaii,
Mo- Most definitely. I was supposed to be in Hawaii last year.
really?
Ended up having to cancel the trip because just a random last minute stuff. But you know, sea-doo fishing or PWC fishing in Hawaii is huge. So they do a lot of marlin and a lot of big yellow fins and stuff over there as well. So definitely want to get out to Hawaii. Definitely want to do Australia as well. Those are
Yeah.
like my two big ones. Australia looks like, oh my goodness,
Australia is
like
amazing.
I
I was
can't
lucky
wait.
enough to go there a long time ago, and it was everything that I thought it was going to
You'd
be and
expect.
more. But I didn't even
That's
get to
awesome.
touch like the Great Barrier Reef. I didn't even get to fish there. So what we did is we fished. Australia has a peninsula on it that's a lot like Florida. It looks like Florida. It extends to the north. They call it the Carpentaria region, and it's about the same size as Florida, and it extends to the north of Australia towards the equator, kind of like Florida extends to the south off the United States towards the equator. And when I got there, I noticed that the vegetation was about the same as, like starting in Orlando and then moving down to Miami and then getting into the Keys, like straight up mangroves. And when I landed in Cairns and then started moving north, and as we kept moving north, it was like, man, this place looks just like Florida. Like it's the same kind of vegetation. The trees are different, but they're kind of the same. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not
Yeah,
exactly the same species, but it's like a flowering tree like a bougainvillea or something like that. Like it's just very familiar. And then the fish were familiar. Like they have basically all the same fish that we have, with slightly they look a little
Different.
different. Like the barramundi is
Yeah.
very snook-like. It's a very snook-like fish. They live in the same kind of areas. They fight real hard, mean. They
Yeah.
have a lot of the same behavioral stuff. They've got the GTS, which are
Jacks,
our
Jack of alls.
jacks. They've got these baby tarpon things that are called oxeye herrings, and they're about 5 pounds at the biggest. That's about as big as they get, but you can catch a million of them. Like they don't spook like baby tarpon. They're more like a school of jacks, and so you're just catching. It's more like, I guess it would be more like, it'd be like a giant ladyfish, right? Like,
Yeah.
and but they fight like a little tarpon. They had permit there, an Indo-Pacific permit. They had the only fish.
Ma-
I think the people in our group caught 53 different species of fish that we all counted up. There was only one that we could think was exactly the same as one that we catch here, and that was one that you've mentioned already, the cobia. The cobia, there's no discernible difference between a cobia in Australia and a cobia here. All the other fish would have like, they would be slightly different, right? Like the permit had like a little extra like long nose on it than our fish, than our permit. And everything else was like familiar, like very similar like behavior, very similar look. They ate kind of the same stuff, but it was there were
it's a little
differences.
bit different.
But that
It's like that
cobia is the same.
they have the mangrove jack there, and it pretty much looks just like a mangrove snapper.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah,
ever seen Have you ever seen a Nile perch?
I have, and they have those super crazy looking teeth.
Yeah, but they're huge. Like
Yeah,
they
I've seen
get they
those.
look like they would be, I guess, the equivalent of like a Kubera snapper that's like almost the size as a Goliath grouper. I mean, what a mean fish
Yeah, that's
that would be,
nuts.
right?
Yeah.
I remember when I was a young, impressionable fisherman, I went to a book signing for Lefty Cray, and I got to talk to him, and he was signing my book, and I was asking, I was like, "What do you think the best fish you've ever caught is?" And he said, "Oh, that's easy, Nile perch." And he told this story about taking his reel, and he cast over there, and the thing just basically smoked him. Then he's like taking pliers and tightening down the star drag on his reel as tight as he possibly could, and he's like, there was just no stopping those things. Just,
Really.
back then he didn't have the tackle that we
Yeah.
do today, but I don't know. I would like to do that too. That was in, I think those Nile perch, he said, were in New Guinea, which is just north of Australia, unexplored for the most part. That would be
Awesome.
a hell of a trip. I'm about to
Yeah.
take a
That's
trip.
an
I told you
adventure.
about. I'm headed to the Seychelles next month, so that one is going to be
That
something. I'm
I
really
just
looking
saw
forward to that.
I just saw one of Anthony's videos from Bad Company where they were in the Seychelles, and it's just ridiculous. Oh my goodness, the doggies and the G's. Oh my gosh,
I
that
know.
looks like
I'm
paradise, man.
really looking forward to it. I don't think we're going to be doing any offshore fishing. I think everything that we're going to be doing is like
I'm
um,
sure.
inshore fly fishing, for basically for bonefish, triggerfish, milkfish, GTs, and then there's other fish over there that I've never fished for. But there's a permit. They have an Indo-Pacific permit there, um, and then there's a few other things. They have like a what is it called? A sweet lips. That thing is crazy looking. It I don't even know. It's like a wrasse. It's like a big wrasse, and it's got like a
Oh, I think I know. And
weird.
they have like those super big lips, and they're sometimes they're like
Yeah.
blue or green.
Well, that one, I think they call that a
Napoleon
Napoleon
wrasse.
wrasse. A
Napoleon, yeah.
Napoleon wrasse. Now, those Napoleon wrasse get huge. That is the one. When I think back to my trip in Australia, the one thing that stands out whenever I think about Australia, I think about this situation. Those Napoleon wrasse are kind of like, I don't know what it would be, the equivalent around here. When you get to the spot, you got fish that just come to your boat. You got like Bermuda chubs or something that come up to your chum bag,
Like a
right?
parrotfish or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
parrotfish. Maybe you got like, they're just gonna come around.
Yeah.
Well, in Australia, they have these Napoleon wrasses that are huge. I mean, when I say huge, I had no idea how big they could be, but they didn't warn us or anything. So I had to go on this. My plane got messed up, and so the rest of my party ended up going to this place called Lizard Island, and I had to miss out because my plane was late. So I was stuck in Cairns by myself. I'm like, man, I gotta get to the Barrier Reef. Any way I can get out there, I got to do it. So I took a tourist snorkel boat out there, which is still a pretty good operation on the Great Barrier Reef. We get out there, and they got a ladder that goes down into the water, and I go down the ladder, and I'm underwater, and I turn around, and there's one of those Napoleon wrasses right there, and it's the size of the wall. It is, it is the biggest thing ever. It scared the living daylights out of me. I had no idea. I'd never seen one
That is
before. I didn't know,
crazy.
but it's like a pet. Like like that
Yeah.
thing just comes and hangs around the dive boats. It's the biggest, most giant thing I've ever seen, and it didn't want it. It wouldn't hurt you. Like it was
Yeah.
perfectly fine, but that was an incredible experience. Just doing it, just being on a tourist dive boat on the Great Barrier Reef, and the quality of snorkeling
Seeing
there
that.
was just, it was amazing. I mean, it was like you were with, I don't know. It was incredible. Yeah. So Australia, you want to go um, offshore there?
Yeah, for sure. Like Western Australia.
Yeah. Well, those bad company guys, they got it dialed in down
Yeah.
there, I think.
Everywhere, man. Just
Yeah,
on the
well,
big ones.
they got it dialed in everywhere. I think they
For
got the.
sure.
I've never seen anybody have quite the spread, the setup as he's got.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
It's
Do you
awesome.
do you know
For
him?
sure. Yeah, we've spoke a bit.
You gonna go fishing with him? You get him on a jet
Hopefully.
ski, maybe.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Should put a sea-doo on
Yeah.
one of his boats, catch a marlin.
Shoot. I promise you, he can put you on a marlin. I
For
promise you.
sure. For sure.
So, um, so you got anything coming up that you're excited about?
I'm just excited for summer to come around and get a bunch of flat calm days where I could just fish as often as possible. I definitely want to go back to Louisiana soon and do some cobias and explore some of the deep stuff like the bottom fishing and the sword fishing and stuff like that. So I really just want to travel around a bit and just do something a little different than the usual program here in Florida.
Yeah. How big of swordfish would you be comfortable hooking on a sea doo?
Honestly,
As big as they
if
come.
I'm honestly like if I have a boat with me or even if I have another sea with me, I would honestly as big as possible. I'd love to do it. Just because the challenge, it's like
Yeah.
why not? Why not try it?
They're mean.
The
I can
the
tell you
the
that.
reason I haven't done it here in Florida is because the current is just tremendous, versus Louisiana. You're using so much less weight in Louisiana, dealing with so much less current.
Hmm.
Here in Florida, to manage the rod and keeping the heading while out there sorting on the Sea-Doo is just not at all easy.
So when you think about doing some different stuff, do you think about, does it need to be on the sea doo, or you're open to the boat or other
Oh
people's
no, yeah,
boats,
I'm
or
I'm I'm open. I'm open to everything. I I,
yeah.
I still have two Sea-Doos. The boat. So I just want to spread it out, do different things because certain things truly, like cobia fishing, the cobia fishing I did in Louisiana last year, I don't think I'd ever want to do it on anything other than a sea just because of how fun it was. Like just fighting those fish, hooking them off the rigs, pulling them towards the sea having to drive away from the rigs, having to keep them away. And then once you gaff them, it's like a whole nother ordeal. So
Dude,
that is like that was such a highlight. That was so much fun.
that's a mean fish too when you get them on the gaff, and when you, I mean, you
Yeah.
throw them in the boat or in a cooler, but you're just tucking them in your fish bag.
We had one last year where it was actually my buddy Rich. He had him on, and the fish was just going crazy. So I offered to come in and gaff it for him. Once I gaffed it and I got it into my footwell, the fish literally did, like, I have a video of this. The fish does a full like flip, lands back in the gunnel, jumps out of the boat, jumps out of the sea doo. I have to reach back over, gaff him again, and get him back into the sea doo. It was that place is just so awesome.
You ever have
So crazy.
any stories with sharks in the sea?
Oh yeah.
They get you?
Nothing, nothing, nothing where it's like I'm in danger or anything, but sharks are like, I've lost some amazing fish to sharks. So
Yeah.
many days you go out here, and especially Jupiter, I've never seen it anywhere as bad as Jupiter, where you will literally have five, six, seven, 10+ sharks just they just trying to eat one kingfish.
Yeah.
It's crazy over there. But then some days you'll be fishing there and you don't see a single shark.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah. Jupiter is that's every time I've been there, it's been thick with sharks.
yeah,
Like
yeah. The
really,
sharks are
really
bad,
bad.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, very bad.
I don't know what we're I don't know. I had Chris Fisher on from O Search recently, and he's been doing all the shark tagging and everything. And I asked him what his thoughts were on sharks and the where we are with the population. And he was very optimistic. He was like, this is a healthy ocean. This is what the ocean is supposed to look like, and we are on a rebound. And this is a healthy ocean. And maybe, like for people my age and his age, maybe we have not been fishing in a healthy ocean our whole life to see. Like a lot of people are like, never seen sharks this bad. Well, I mean, I don't know about what you think, but it seems like that's a good thing to me. Like, I mean, nobody likes to lose fish. Nobody likes to be in a situation where everything you hook is being attacked. I get it, but
Yeah,
also, if those sharks don't have anything to eat, like if the if the prey, the bait, the other fish are not super plentiful, there's not going to be a ton of sharks. So I think it speaks for the overall health of that area that if Jupiter can support that many sharks, there's obviously
and that
a
is pretty
lot of
crazy.
good fishing right there. There's a lot of good fish, a lot of the bait population's good, the mullet population's good, like all the way up the chain to support that number and those
Of sharks.
aggressive sharks. Like they have to eat. Like
Yeah,
they're eating or they wouldn't be there, right? So
yeah,
I don't know. I like that. I like the optimistic approach of this is a healthy ocean. Now we just have to
yeah.
learn how to fish in it. You
But
know.
I've also heard that the fishing back then was so much better than it is now, especially like here in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
So, but I mean, I didn't experience it, so that's just what I hear versus like what I'm experiencing now, and then dealing with the sharks. It could just be like some days you catch two fish, and both of them go to sharks,
Yes. I know.
and it's the
It's really a
worst.
situation. It's really a tough situation, but I don't know. I mean, my own fishing, the tarpon fishing has definitely changed. We hooked more tarpon when I first started guiding, and I wasn't anywhere nearly as good at it, or that's the way it seems to me that I've spent a lot of time doing it. I seem to have gotten better at it, but the catch ratio goes down, or the hook ratio goes down. They just don't want to bite like they used to. But I can't say that about every fish. I mean, I remember like it was a really big deal for somebody to get a grand slam on the flats, like a permit, a bonefish, a tarpon. It was a really big deal. And in fact, we had a tournament. It was called the Red Bone tournaments. They were a celebrity kind of charity tournament for cystic fibrosis. They're really popular tournaments in the Keys. They don't really have them anymore. But there was a tournament. It was a slam tournament. And for the first few years, the rules were, well, if you get a slam, you win. And then at the end of those tournaments, guides are going in there and they're getting, 8 slams. And there's like 6 guides that have multiple slams. And so then
In a
once you get a
day.
slam, yeah. Well, this was
Wow.
a 2-day tournament, right? But yeah, you can get a slam in a day. I mean, that's an official grand slam is a permit of bonefish or tarpon in the same day, and so then it gets bastardized to, well, in this tournament, that it would be a slam, right? But I just see a lot more people catching more. Now, so many things have gotten better. The boats have gotten better. Our outboards have gotten better. We can go further, faster, better fuel economy, bigger gas tanks, bigger boats in a lot of cases. You can, bigger live wells, bigger everything. Everything's gotten better. The fishing tackle's
Yeah.
gotten better, and that is definitely going to improve the catch rates. But I think that the fishing is as good, if not better, as a whole on the flats than it has ever been. Now, you have lots of different little things that have gone on. Like when I first got to Key West, the permit fishing was amazing. It was by far the best place in the Keys to fish for permit was Key West. Over and Isla Morada was the best place to fish for bonefish, and all the world records came from bonefish out of Isla Morada. All of them. I mean, you could go back and look in the book, and it was either Bimini or Isla Morada. And then we had something happened, a cold front in like 2008, and those fish just kind of disappeared for a while. They might have died, they might have moved off, they might have gone somewhere. I don't know what happened to them. But then now the bone fishing in Key West is the best. And
Really?
when that happens, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like the permit fishing is as good as it once was. But the bonefish is better than it's ever been. Tarpon fishing is about the same.
Things are just changing.
Yeah, you just see like ebbs and flows, and I think you always see ebbs
Yeah.
and flows in everything. But I think that it does seem like overall everybody's catching fish. Like most of the guides are coming back.
Yeah.
Their customers are catching fish, and I don't know. We certainly have a lot more tools at our disposal. Electronics. I mean, like you hear the stories about like Ralph Delph and Robert Trossett when they first got to the Keys. They didn't have GPS. They had Loran, and they're finding these wrecks way out in the middle of nowhere.
Could
Oh,
not
they can
imagine.
they can find those things. I mean, they're like running on a compass bearing and the with a stopwatch in their hand, looking at the RPMs of their motor. We're going to run 4,500 RPMs for 3.5 minutes at this compass bearing, and then we're going to run a different compass bearing for 5 minutes, and we're going to be at the spot, or for an hour and a half, and then we're going to be at the spot. Like today's fishermen, like that, trying to find something like that is. I mean, first of all, how
Yeah,
would you
it's
find it the
incredible.
first time, and then secondly, like how do you find it again with nothing like what we
No
have today?
electronics.
No, we're lucky today,
Yeah,
man. We got all kinds of stuff. We got all
that's
kinds of
for
stuff.
sure.
Right on. Well, how do people follow all your different accounts?
On Instagram, Emmanuel W underscore. On YouTube, I Belong Outdoors. And on TikTok, E-Man Belongs Outdoors.
Right on.
And then on Facebook, I Belong Outdoors as well.
Okay, so I belong outdoors. That's pretty much all the way across, except Instagram.
Yeah.
And then, do you have any plans on would you ever want to be a guide, or just stick
Not
to
right
what you're
now.
doing?
That's honestly never been something I've even thought about. I've always just really enjoyed creating videos and taking people along in that way. Before I made videos, I actually like grew up with my friends making skateboarding videos, riding all around, going to skate parks, and that's kind of how I got into editing. So I've just always been in love with video creation. So as of right now, no, being a guy isn't in
Right
the
on.
plans.
Well, you're doing a great job, man. Your social media is one of my favorites. I check it out. It
Thank
comes.
you.
I don't even have to check it out. It comes across my feed all the time. You're doing a great job. I don't know how you do that, but it's doing great, man. So it's really cool to
Thank you.
to have you on the show and get to know you a little bit. I really appreciate you coming. And you guys should check it out. If you're not following him, definitely go give him a follow. And he's catching some wild stuff on on a jet ski a lot of times. Pretty cool. All right, man. Thanks. It's great to meet you.
Likewise. Thank you.
Okay, hang on. Don't close out the